patient interview I didn't hear about till I came for my interview, and I heard about the day of, and at first it was quite nerve-wracking. You know, I prepared for all these questions and questions from people that I knew about medicine and the PA profession, I was assuming. And behind this door was this unknown patient, and there's really no way to prepare for it, and you're given very little instruction as to what to expect or to do. And so I knock on the door, I introduce myself, and my background in the ER is to make sure I'm washing my hands and checking patient identification and looking for safety things before I ever enter the room, and I'm in that mindset. But overall, I just knew that I had to make a connection with this person that I knew very little about, and eventually I did that. And it wasn't until I got home from the interview later that I reflected upon the meaning of that interview. And so for me, the patient interview showed me that, one, this program was progressive and innovative enough to think of something like that, and two, that we all know actions speak louder than words, and the program went beyond that to provide an interaction. And that really emphasized, I knew this program had a great reputation for the humanitarian side of medicine, and this emphasized that beyond just what I could read in print or hear from someone.
So there's several PA programs out there that emphasize the importance of patient-centered care and having a good provider that's able to connect with their patients. But the way they go about seeking that in their potential students is a bit vague at best. They'll often ask questions like, tell me about a time that a patient really touched you, or a time that you went above and beyond a patient. Really, to me, that tells a lot more about the experiences that you've had and the kind of storyteller that you are, and doesn't really give an indication of how well you can connect with a patient as a human being. Penn State took a unique approach. They put us in a room with a patient with no directions whatsoever and said, connect with this person. There wasn't any script. It wasn't about how long have you had your illness, the OPQRSTs of medicine. It was really about, can you meet someone that you've never met before, establish a rapport with them, and connect with them as a person. To me, that's very important for a couple of reasons. Certainly, this will help find students that will become great providers in the humanistic kind of way. They'll be able to connect with people as individual people and not just as patients that we treat. Secondly, it's important for a PA class to be able to work well together. PA school is certainly not an individual sport. We need to get through this together, and by selecting students based on their ability to connect with people, it ensures a better team that works well together with a class full of students where we can connect with each other, strangers from different places, different parts of the country. We know that we'll have some good communication skills and some effective teamwork abilities that I think some other programs just can't find by asking some basic questions.
So I was really blessed and fortunate to be able to interview at quite a few schools. Obviously, as a applicant, I'm looking for the mission statements of different schools, some of their interview processes and techniques. When I came to Penn State, obviously looking into the school, their mission statement appealed to me, especially with the humanistic approach, with how they want medicine to be administered and taught. It was one thing to read about that, because I would say most of the schools that I looked into emphasized patient care, the ability of the PA student to be able to interact well with patients. But when I came to the interview here at Penn State, a surprising thing happened. The program director said, part of the interview process, we're going to have you go in and meet with a real patient, patients that she sees on a regular basis, and you're just going to treat it as if it was you as a PA meeting with a new patient. So I had a chance to come into this room, actually, sit down with one of her patients and just talk with him, discuss, the reasons he was there, kind of build a quick trust. And after that was over, it really showed me what Penn State really was about, what they were focusing on. They wanted to know that their applicants that were interested in this school not only were academically qualified, but at the same time were able to actually interact with patients and to have a patient feel that that person could be a future provider for them. And after all was said and done, evaluating a lot of the schools of where I should attend and what I wanted to get out of my education, Penn State really showed me that not only did they put it on their mission statement, but they proved it in their interview that they want us to be good providers for our patients, to be able to build trust, to be able to focus our treatment and our assessment, our plans patient-oriented. And deciding to come here solely, as surprising as that is, was because of that patient interview, where I was able to meet with them, talk with them, assess whether I had the abilities to sit down with the patient, and interact with them well, if I had the people skills necessary to be able to do that so that I could practice medicine in the future. And it also showed, for the admission committee, whether I was qualified to do that and to have that patient, respond to them in a positive way, to let them know that I was a good candidate to be able to meet with patients and that he would see me if I was a PA in the future. That gave me a lot of confidence, and I was thankful for that opportunity. So I thought it was a very cool thing that Penn State did. It's nothing that I've seen anywhere else for any of the other interviews that I've done, and it was one of the biggest decision makers for me.
So the patient interview, that's one of the very unique and the very interesting experience that I had coming to the Penn State for the interview, because I've been interviewed in several schools but never had such an experience. Because usually during the interview you come in and you try to deliver your best and essentially sell yourself, and this was a completely different scenario, because you look at this experience and thinking what to expect. Well, first of all, you don't know what to expect and who would be there, an old person, a young person, a person with medical experience, or a person who is in the healthcare right now. And that was actually my case, because I had both a person who was both. He was a patient and at the same time he was a nurse. So it was quite challenging discussion what I saw first. It all turned out to be absolutely fantastic, and we talked about different things. But once again, when you go in, you don't know what to expect, and you think that maybe this is the time you're not only reflecting on yourself, but you are reflecting on how you're gonna help others and how you're gonna interact with other people, and you'll be judged based on your ability to do so. This is quite unique, and there's no really true objective test, in order to, test the candidates. One of the most interesting things that came out for me, it was very important for me, that we ended up talking about nothing more simple than the hand washing. And this is what he as a patient was extremely concerned about, and he as a nurse was extremely concerned about, the patient's safety. And now that I had this experience, it will forever reflect in my head that my patient safety and my hand washing technique should always be there. And without this experience, I'll probably never think about this. But now every time I go to clinic, I think about that particular experience, and I think it was extremely valuable during my interview time, and I would never expect that to actually happen during the interview time. But it all turned out well.
When I talked to Chris after having moved here, she said to me, there's something that you might be interested in doing. Think about it, come if you want. And what it was meeting students and being part of the interviewing process. And I thought it was great. And I came, and this was a year back. And at first I thought, wow, a patient having a chance to choose a provider. I've never heard of this before. But okay, I'll do it. And I've been doing it ever since. And now, the class that was admitted, I can say that academically, they're sound. I can say as people, they're personable. They are nice people, because we have to comment on, is this person nice to talk to? Would you feel comfortable talking to them? And to pick out someone, you know, that be a very important thing, I think it's tremendous. As a patient, I don't like going to a provider who seems like they just want to rush through what I have to say, or be impatient or rude or any of those things. I'm going because I'm sharing my health and any problems that I may be having at that time. And I can say this, the classes that are being picked, they're nice kids, nice people.
Well, the patients are the most important thing that you're going to come in contact with after you finish your studies and finish the program. And I think to get a patient's views on what they expect and what's important to them could be very helpful. If I were in your position, I would want to know how the patients will react to me and to what I'm going to be doing for them or to them. So yeah, I think it's very helpful. Well, Chris asked me one day, would I be interested in doing this? And I thought, okay, I'll try it. And I just really love it. I think it's very interesting to me to talk to these very bright young people who are going to go into medicine and try to make a career out of something that is so important. I've had some that I've talked to that I maybe would not go to because they maybe didn't listen. One of my big things that I'm interested in. But I've met some very, very intelligent, smart people that are very educated and will be very good. And I just keep doing it because I just love it. I just really enjoy it.